Bandana Gramma in the kitchen, and today I am canning apples. I've already washed my jars and I'm sterilizing them. I've got my apples cored and peeled, and I'm boiling them for 5 minutes in a light syrup. And come back in just a minute and I'll be putting them up in jars. First, to prepare my apples, I had washed them, and then I used my handy dandy little apple corer, peeler, slicer machine to prepare the apples, and I kept them soaked in lemon water so they wouldn't turn brown. My apples have been boiling for 5 minutes. My jars have been boiling for 10 minutes. I turn the apples off and I take a jar out and drain it. Ideally, this should have been done in the sink, so when I fill the jars with apples, I don't displace too much water. But I take a hot jar and I put it on a towel so there's no change in temperature to shock it. Then I fill the hot jar with hot apples. And I want to fill it up pretty tight, because if you don't, then they tend to float and leave liquid on the bottom, so I like to pack them in there pretty good. Now once my jar is packed full, up to within 1/2 to 1 inch from the top, then I take a clean non-metal instrument and I move the apples around to make sure all the air bubbles are out. Then I take a clean towel and I wipe the rim of the jar to remove any debris that might interfere with the seal. Once that is done, I get my lid, I put it on top, I knock it off, I get another lid, I put it on top, and then I screw down my ring just finger tight, don't crank it too hard, and into the canner it goes. Doing the jars one at a time like this keeps them hot. They should be covered with at least 1 inch of water in the water bath canner. Again, the water bath canner is for high acid foods. If you're going to can foods that are low in acid, like vegetables and meats, you must use a pressure canner. So I am turning the heat up for it to boil. After it's boiled 10 minutes, which is recommended for my altitude, it might be different where you are, then I carefully take the lid off to avoid steam, and I remove my jars. I have 4 quarts of sliced apples in a light syrup. Actually an extra light syrup, about 1/2 cup of sugar to 4 cups of water ratio for the amount of liquid you're going to need. So besides canning the sliced apples, because I had some of the light syrup left over, I went ahead and canned up 2 quarts of the light syrup, and I thought I would use that when I'm making cakes or cookies or muffins to replace some of the liquid that is supposed to be added to the recipe. That way it'll be infused with extra apple flavor, and I can just cut back on the sugar because the syrup already has sugar in it. Sounded like a good idea. Remember, I am not a trained canning expert, so please do your own research and learn to do it right. And after the jars have cooled, I wash them in hot soapy water, dry them well, take the rings off, and label the lids with what's in them and the date.